Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Cody the Coin Raptor, and today's video is going to be a very important video. It might be a little bit longer than usual, but just know that this video is incredibly important. I need to talk about Bitcoin, what's going on right now, my plans to profit from this market panic, and I want to give you some context about what's going on here. So if you guys enjoyed this content, please like, please share, please subscribe, and follow me on X and Threads. So Bitcoin is down big. It's been down big for about the past week or so. You'll notice here I actually have the Bitcoin CME futures chart up here, and there has been this giant gap that formed about the 8th of November, going from about 77K up to about 81,000. And it was long thought that we would eventually come back and fill this gap, and that's kind of where we are right now. So in the near term, I think it's very possible. The bottom line up front right now is going to be that Bitcoin could potentially move down to the end of this gap, I think, which is about maybe 72K. Now, that being said, I don't expect the price to linger at 72K for very long, but I at least expect that we're going to probably go to about 75,000 or somewhere close to that before we finally get a rejection and a relief bounce for Bitcoin. Now, what this looks like on the regular Bitcoin chart right now is what I have up here currently, and that is that there is strong support there at about 73K. The problem is that there's just not a lot of support currently between 73K and about 85K. There's a lot of air here, and so Bitcoin has kind of broken through the important support levels of about 91K and come all the way down here. Now, if you take a look at the daily RSI, we're sitting at about a 22. So to put that in context, 30 is usually oversold, and so we're actually coming in below that oversold level. The last time Bitcoin was anywhere near that oversold, it was about 25,000. This was back in August of 2023, a huge crash just right after the bottom of the bear market back in December of 2022. So Bitcoin right now, the sentiment has been terrible, but I'm taking advantage of the opportunity to buy the dip and especially to get Bitcoin in the 70s while I can. Now, one of the reasons why Bitcoin has been falling is because the investors right now have been very bearish. This is the AAII Investor Sentiment Survey. Traditional markets, 60% right now, currently bearish, overwhelmingly bearish. And in fact, if you take a look at the Bitcoin liquidations here, we can see that longs have been liquidated at a rate that we have not seen in quite some time. I mean, there's been 3 or 4 days here with 800 million, 900 million, 600 million. This is total crypto liquidations. We're talking about billions of dollars in long liquidations over the past couple of days. And in fact, Bitcoin right now is having basically one of the worst Februaries of its entire history. Normally, February is a very bullish month for Bitcoin, but not this month. Okay, so just to put this in the proper historical context. Now, I also made a video a couple of weeks back talking about Bitcoin options, and specifically what I talked about is the Bitcoin options expiry set on the 28th of March. And this is when about $9 billion worth of Bitcoin options are set to expire. And I said that the max paying price for that period was going to be 86,000. And back then, a couple of weeks ago when I made this video, 86,000 was kind of crazy. We were sitting at maybe about 100K, and just thinking that Bitcoin could maybe gravitate somewhere towards the 80s heading toward March was a little crazy. But in fact, that's kind of where we've been heading over the past couple of days. And in fact, I actually think that it's very likely we'll wind up seeing that 86K by the end of March. And if you were to get in right now, especially in the 70s, I think that would actually wind up being a pretty smart idea. But again, not financial advice here. Do your own research. But the idea here is that the price will gravitate towards the max paying price, currently sitting at 86,000. Now, most of these are going to be call options, and some of them are puts. But for the most part, this is something that we need to pay attention to. And if you guys enjoy seeing this information, let me know, drop a comment, and I'll make sure I talk about the Bitcoin options expiry and some interesting moves that traders are making. But I have been buying Bitcoin. I've been buying the dip here. I bought today at about 79,000, just slightly under 80K, and it was a pretty modest size buy for me. But this is something I'm going to be sizing into the future making a larger position. IBIT, just like with Bitcoin, you have that huge gap here. You can actually see it drawn out here really nicely. You can look, the gap goes from about 43 up to about 46. So tomorrow, when the market's open, we're going to wind up seeing IBIT come down here. I'm going to be buying some more IBIT tomorrow, and the whole idea here is that that basically Bitcoin will recover, it will bounce. This happens. This is normal. This is a normal part of the process, and we're currently in the load the boat stage, at least for me, when it comes to Bitcoin. And I do believe that the end of the year price target for me still sitting well above 100K, probably about 120, 130,000 at the low end, I would say. But this is just speculation on my part. Now, we also have additional data with the Bitcoin spot ETFs that show huge outflows from Bitcoin spot ETFs. We're seeing over $2 billion worth of Bitcoin spot ETF outflows for the week. This is something that we've never seen, and in fact reflects the bearishness that I was talking about before with this AAII investor sentiment survey. Quite frankly, they're selling, there's blood on the streets, there's fear, extreme fear in some cases, and quite frankly, this is the kind of behavior that we would expect to see in this type of market. In fact, if you take a look at the Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index, you can see that we're now at about 10, or extreme fear. This is very unusual for Bitcoin to be this oversold, and I really love to buy Bitcoin when there's this extreme fear because it creates an outsized opportunity for some serious gains. Now, there also have been some whales that have been buying the dip as well. This is the Mr. 100 wallet. Mr. 100 wallet has been buying and selling Bitcoin regularly throughout the month of February. You can see several 100 Bitcoin transactions here, and then even one sell actually here at about 1,000 Bitcoin on the 25th. But don't be surprised if you wind up seeing Mr. 100 actually wind up buying Bitcoin. They love to buy Bitcoin when it's much, much lower. And in fact, we're going to wind up seeing a large amount of demand coming in for Bitcoin. Looking at the exchange reserve, we're seeing a large decrease in the number of Bitcoin available in the exchanges. And you have states like Texas, for instance, that are considering a strategic Bitcoin reserve bill, okay? And it's not just Texas. It's also other states, Oklahoma, Arizona, Utah, okay? If these states go through and they pass this Bitcoin reserve bill, you'll see the demand for Bitcoin really start to spike, all right? Not to mention that, but you also have our friend Michael Saylor also making additional Bitcoin purchases. I mean, it looks like right now they made another 12,000 Bitcoin purchase, okay? So the simple fact here is that the demand for Bitcoin still remains strong, even though the market's jittery, even though people are selling at any price whatsoever. I do think that we're going to wind up seeing a strong rebound in the Bitcoin price. It's just going to take a couple of weeks maybe, but the simple fact is that we're going to be higher, I think, by the end of the year. So as long as you have a long-term time horizon, you can see these opportunities as gifts and not panic sell the bottom. But let me know what you guys are doing in the market. Not financial advice, as I said before. Do your own research. Leave a comment below. Have you guys been buying the dip? Have you been selling the dip? Have you been staying away from the market? Or are you waiting for the 70s? Let me know, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.